was The Secret Goldfish. It was about this little kid that wouldn't let anybody look at his goldfish because he bought it with his own money. It killed me. Now he's out in Hollywood TV being a prostitute. If there's one thing I hate, it's the movies. Don't even mention them to me. Where I want to start is the day I left Pensy Prep. Pensy Prep is the school that's in Hagerstown, Pennsylvania. You've probably heard of it. You've probably seen the ads anyway. They advertise in about 1,000 magazines, always showing some hotshot guy on a horse jumping over a fence, as if all you ever did at Pensy was play polo all the time. I never even once saw a horse anywhere near that place, and underneath the guy on the horse's picture, it always says, "Since 1888, we've been molding boys into splendid, clear-thinking young men, strictly for the birds. They don't do any damn more molding at Pensy than they do at any other school, and I didn't know anybody there that was splendid and clear-thinking at all. Maybe 2 guys, if that many, and they probably came to Pensy that way." Anyway, it was the Saturday of the football game with Saxon Hall. The game with Saxon Hall was supposed to be a very big deal around Pensy. It was the last game of the year, and you were supposed to commit suicide or something if Old Pensy didn't win. I remember around 3 o'clock that afternoon, I was standing way the hell on top of Thompson's Hill, right next to this crazy cannon that was in the Revolutionary War and all. You could see the whole field from there, and you could see the 2 teams bashing each other all over the place. You couldn't see the grandstand too hot, but you could hear them all yelling, deep and terrific on the Pensy side, because practically the whole school except me was there, and the scrawny and faggy on the Saxon Hall side, because the visiting team hardly ever brought many people with them. There was never many girls at the football games. The only seniors were allowed to bring girls with them. It was a terrible school no matter how you looked at it. I like to be somewhere at least where you can see a few girls around once in a while, even if they're only scratching their arms or blowing their nose, or even just giggling or something. Old Selma Thurmer, she was the headmaster's master, showed up at the games quite often, but she wasn't exactly the type that drove you mad with desire. She was a pretty nice girl, though. I sat next to her once on the bus from Hagerstown, and we sort of struck up a conversation. I liked her. She had a big nose, and her nails were all bitten down and bleedy looking, and she had those damn falsies that point out all over the place. But you felt sort of sorry for her. What I liked about her, she didn't give you a lot of horse manure about what a great guy her father was. She probably knew what a phony slob he was. The reason I was standing way up on Thompson Hill instead of down at the game was because I just got back from New York with the fencing team. I was the goddamn manager of the fencing team. Very big deal. We'd gone to New York that morning for this fencing meet with McBurney School, only we didn't have the meet. I left all the foils and equipment and stuff on the goddamn subway. It wasn't my fault. I had to keep getting up and looking at this map so we'd know where to get off. So we got back to Pensy around 2:30 instead of around dinner time. The whole team ostracized me the whole way back on the train. It was pretty funny in a way. The other reason I wasn't going down to the game was because I was on my way to say goodbye to old Spencer, my history teacher. He had the grip, and I figured I probably wouldn't see him again until Christmas vacation started. He wrote me this note saying he wanted to see me before I went home. He knew I wasn't coming back to Pensy. I forgot to tell you about that. They kicked me out. I wasn't supposed to come back after Christmas vacation on account of I was flunking 4 subjects and not applying myself at all. They gave me the frequent warning to start applying myself, especially around midterms, and when my parents came up for a conference with old Thurmer, but I didn't do it, so I got the axe. They give guys the axe quite frequently at Pensy. It has a very good academic rating, Pensy. It really does. Anyway, it was December and all, and it was cold as a witch's teat, especially on top of that stupid hill. I'd only had on my reversible and no gloves or anything. The week before that, somebody had stolen my camel hair coat right out of my room, with my fur-lined gloves right in my pocket and all. Pensy was full of crooks. Quite a few guys came from these very wealthy families, but it was full of crooks anyway. The more expensive a school, the more crooks it has. I'm not kidding. standing next to that crazy cannon, looking down at the game and freezing my ass off. Only I wasn't even watching the game too much. What I was really hanging around for, I was trying to feel some kind of a goodbye. I mean, I've left schools and places I didn't even know I was leaving them. I don't care if it's a sad goodbye or a bad goodbye, but when I leave a place, I like to know I'm leaving it. If you don't, you feel even worse. I was lucky. All of a sudden, I thought of something that helped make me know I was getting the hell out. I suddenly remembered this time, in around October, that I and Robert Tickner and Paul Campbell were chucking a football around in front of the academic building. They were nice guys, especially Tickner. It was just before dinner and it was getting pretty dark out, but we kept chucking the ball around anyway. It kept getting darker and darker, and we could hardly see the ball anyway. We could hardly see the ball anymore, sorry. But we didn't want to stop doing what we were doing. Finally, we had to. This teacher that taught biology, Mr. Zambezi, stuck his head out of the window in the academic building and told us to go back to the dorm and get ready for dinner. If I get a chance to remember that kind of stuff, I can get a goodbye when I need one. At least most of the time I can. As soon as I got it, I turned around and started running down the other side of the hill toward old Spencer's house. He didn't live on campus. He lived on Anthony Wayne Avenue. I ran all the way down to the main gate, and then I waited a second till I got my breath. I have no wind, if you want to know the truth. I'm quite a heavy smoker for one thing. That is, I used to be. They made me cut it out. Another thing, I grew 6.5 inches last year. That's also how I practically got TB and came out here for all these goddamn checkups and stuff. I'm pretty healthy though. Anyway, as soon as I got my breath, I ran across Route 204. It was icy as hell and I damn near fell down. I don't know what I was running for. I guess I just felt like it. After I got across the road, I felt like I was sort of disappearing. It was that kind of crazy afternoon, terrifically cold and no sun out or anything. And you felt like you were disappearing every time you crossed the road. Boy, I rang that doorbell fast when I got to old Spencer's house. I was really frozen. My ears were hurting and I could hardly move my fingers at all. Come on, I said right out loud. Almost. Somebody opened the door. Finally, old Mrs. Spencer opened it. They didn't have a maid or anything, and they always opened the doors themselves. They didn't have too much dough. Holden, Mrs. Spencer said, how lovely to see you. Come in, dear. Are you frozen to death? I think she was glad to see me. She liked me. At least I think she did. Boy, did I get in that house fast. How are you, Mrs. Spencer? I said. How's Mr. Spencer? Let me take your coat, dear, she said. She didn't hear me ask how Mr. Spencer was. She was sort of deaf. She hung up my coat in the hall closet and sort of brushed my hair back with my hand. I sort of brushed my hair back with my hand. I was wearing a crew cut quite frequently, and I never had to comb it much. How have you been, Mrs. Spencer? I said again, only louder so she'd hear me. I've been just fine, Holden. She closed the closet door. How have you been? The way she asked me, I knew right away old Spencer told her I'd been kicked out. Fine, I said. How's Mr. Spencer? Is he over his grip yet? Over it, Holden. He's behaving like a perfect I don't know what. He's in his room, dear. Go right in. Okay, guys, that's the first chapter of Catcher in the Rye. Again, if you would like me to do more readings, just let me know. Send me a message or something. Okay, hope you enjoy.